I am just loving Sunday nights right now. Ash vs. Evil Dead is crushing it yet again. Season 3, Episode 3 is called Apparently Dead, and it actually opens up with a very nice change of tone and pace for the show. We get a quiet and very genuine heart-to-heart between Ash and Brandy at Candace's funeral. No, Ash doesn't express his sympathies as someone else might, but Ruby's threat or not, I do get the sense that he's really trying to be there for Brandy. But of course, we're watching Ash vs. Evil Dead here. Things are gonna get crazy, and sure enough, they do about 2 minutes into the episode. Yes, Candace's head was chopped off clean during the band room fight sequence, so that does mean that she can't come back in Deadite form, but they reattach her head for the viewing, and sure enough, when Ash is in the room with her alone, she attacks him, and we get yet another fantastic display of gore, effects, and awkward sexual attacks in a coffin that kind of functions as a 1-2 punch, because right after that we roll into the super uncomfortable moment when Ash crawls out of the coffin mid-funeral. It's Ash vs. Evil Dead at its finest, a whole bunch of hilarious and wonderfully inappropriate blood and brutality, but mixed with an emotional moment for Brandy that actually means something. After that incident, Ash notices Ruby at the funeral. He starts to get into it with her, and that's when Brandy spots the two of them talking. Ash tries to explain to her that Ruby turned Rachel and Candace into demons, but of course, Brandy doesn't buy it, and really, why would she? If Ruby's been posing as Miss Prevett for a whole 2 years, that's a lot of history between the two of them, definitely more than what Brandy has with Ash. As if Ash needs an even steeper uphill battle right now, he's going to have an even more difficult time keeping Brandy safe from Ruby because she trusts her so much. After Ruby takes off, Pablo, Kelly, and Dalton walk in and Ash gives them the update on everything. Evil, immortal Ruby is back. But before that conversation can continue where we see it, Pablo has another vision of that same naked lady from the last episode. He finds out that he is in danger because of a demon lady, presumably Ruby, and Brujo wants to give him something, the Kandarian dagger. No one else sees any of this, but Pablo passes along the vital information quickly. He knows where the dagger is, and they have to go find it. And now, cue one of the things that I was hoping for last week, a Pablo, Kelly, Dalton team up. They're going on a road trip together to find the dagger, while Ash tries to go and smooth things over with Brandy. Ruby, as Miss Prevett, drops Brandy off to get her stuff together, but little does Brandy know while she's doing all that, Ruby is performing some sort of Necronomicon ritual that reanimates Brock of all people, who then attempts to win Brandy over as her grandfather. But then Ash comes home and we get some A-plus banter between the two of them before they go full-blown father-son fight mode, with the clever addition of having them accidentally knock out Brandy twice and then only letting her come to when she can see Ash at his worst and then also douse her in Brock's blood. Meanwhile, Pablo, Kelly, and Dalton are busy looking for the dagger by digging up the remains of the cabin. Kelly finds it, and when she does, it cues the drafter, which actually winds up catching Dalton and changing things up big time for people making predictions like I am. When Kelly finds Dalton, he's been impaled by a branch and is as good as dead. Dalton in human form blames Pablo for what happened, which makes me think a little bit, but then he goes full Deadite, suggesting that before he was just trying to manipulate Kelly. Pablo winds up saving the day, though, by running over Deadite Dalton, but after that, Kelly can't find Pablo, so there's the big questions that this episode left me with. Where did Pablo go? And is this really the end of Dalton? And here's my prediction on that second one. I feel like Lindsay Farris can't just come and go like that. So what if the Knights of Sumeria all look the same? That way we can have Farris back and continue to pursue that story thread, but just not as Dalton. But that's just my crazy theory for the moment. As for what's going on with Ash and Brandy, I wonder, what's going to happen to Brandy, assuming she runs off to Ruby now? Did Ruby summon Brock just to get Brandy to hate Ash even more? Or was he meant to kill her? Because if it's not the latter and Ruby isn't trying to get rid of Brandy, does that mean Brandy has some sort of value to Ruby? Just another wild guess on that one for me, but I got a feeling I'm going to have a whole lot of fun trying to figure all this out throughout the rest of the season. We had a new directing duo on this episode, Andreas and Diego Meza Valdez, and they kept the bar high. I especially like what they did with the more slow burn type scares, like when we're creeping down the hallway wondering what's in the shower. It's a moment of building dread that has this really fresh feel to it while still fitting firmly within the overall tone of the show. So those are my thoughts on Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 3, Episode 3. Hit that comment section, share your thoughts on it right there. And now it is time for a Patreon shout out. This one is going to 3 folks who have been with the campaign for a good while now: Dustin Lewis, Tony Morrow, and David Bell. Guys, thank you for having my back from month to month. Your support is just so greatly appreciated. And now, rather than tell you guys to like and share this video, you know what I want you to do? Go tell someone you know about Ash vs. Evil Dead. Spread the love for this show like me, Late to the Party, and anyone else you see doing Ash vs. Evil Dead coverage, because it needs this attention. It deserves it. And you know what? I'll see you next week, because we're going to cover Episode 4, Unfinished Business.